Lexington police are looking for a man accused of shooting his cousin. We're talking to a woman who heard the gunshots.
He's actually sold some of the books in different states.
A Lexington man is facing charges. Police say they caught him selling stolen textbooks. And a church is replacing words of hate with acts of love.
No matter what happens in life, always love.
The message they're sending vandals.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Police say a man shot his cousin. You're watching WKYT on the CW Lexington. I'm Kristen Kennedy. This afternoon on Jackson Street in Lexington, officers say a man shot his cousin then ran away. Emergency crews rushed the victim to the hospital. Police are trying to figure out what led up to the shooting. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner is talking to a woman who heard the shots in our top story at 6.
Neighbors say a man shot his cousin at a home on Jackson Street and then ran outside of the home. All is quiet now, but earlier this afternoon, neighbors say they heard 4 gunshots come from inside a home in the 700 block of Jackson Street. Lexington police were called out around 1:30 this afternoon. They say their suspect and victim are cousins, and the victim was shot once in each leg, twice in the right arm, and was also grazed by a bullet in the stomach area. Neighbors say the home where the shots came from is quiet most of the time with occasional rowdiness.
And all of a sudden, a lady in the house came running out, and one of the other guys come running out. Then the young boys come out and got on his bicycle, and he stuck the gun down in his pants, and he took off riding. But before that, I heard 4 rounds of shots being fired. And then as she come out, she was hollering, "He shot him, he shot him." I've been in this neighborhood for 10 years. And it's a rough neighborhood.
Neighbors say, unfortunately, they weren't shocked to see something like this happening in their neighborhood. In Lexington, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Police say family members are trying to talk the cousin into turning himself in. A 2-year-old died after a driver hit them this weekend in Shelby County. Shelbyville police say someone at the Lynn Acres apartment complex hit the toddler yesterday. Emergency crews rushed the child to Jewish Hospital. They later died. Police have not released the child's name. Officers are looking for a man who walked away from Blackburn Correctional Complex this morning. Leaders there say 41-year-old Lewis Stokes escaped around 8:15. He was serving a 37-year sentence out of Henderson County for receiving stolen property. Stokes would have been eligible for parole in April 2018. He's 5 feet 11 inches tall, 185 pounds, with brown hair and green eyes. Caught in the act, University of Kentucky police arrested a man they say was trying to sell stolen textbooks to a bookstore. Investigators say 30-year-old Anthony Shields broke into offices on UK's campus and stole textbooks. They think he did the same thing on other campuses. WKYT's Mike Linden is tracking the investigation.
University of Kentucky police, in partnership with campus police departments across the state, have made an arrest following a string of burglaries on the University of Kentucky's campus. UK police have arrested 30-year-old Anthony Shields of Lexington for allegedly stealing textbooks from the UK College of Nursing last week. Campus police say Shields does not have any affiliation with UK. Police say Shields was caught when he tried to sell a textbook stolen from Western Kentucky University at a UK campus bookstore. They say Shields could possibly be connected to textbook thefts at Morehead State, EKU, and WKU.
One of the things that we found out also is he's actually sold some of the books in different states, as far as Birmingham, Alabama. So we're tracking all this down, and it's continuing to unfold as we go.
Chief Monroe says Shields is charged with third-degree burglary and possession of burglary tools. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
When officers arrested Shields, they say they found a tire iron in his car. They believe he used it to break into the College of Nursing offices. A Lexington church is turning words of hate into acts of love. Saturday morning, members of St. Michael's Episcopal Church found graffiti sprayed on their walls and doors. WKYT's Sean Moody shows us how parishioners responded.
The rector of the church said the most important part of what happened here wasn't what was spray painted on their building, but rather how their congregation would respond. Really, all it took to send a new message was a little bit of elbow grease and some sidewalk chalk. a whole lot of sidewalk chalk. Rector Laurie Brock says St. Michael's Episcopal Church has always had an open door for anybody who wants to come worship.
Let us pray.
But she never expected that door to look like this.
And yesterday, we were on the receiving end of what I think was a very poor choice.
That spray paint showed up a couple of days ago.
It feels violating, and it makes me feel angry.
It didn't take long for the church members to clear it all off. With a pressure washer and some scrubbing, it all came off pretty quick, which brings us to Sunday morning.
When people send out into the world hate and violence, our responsibility is to respond with love. Teenage boys are not the only ones who can graffiti things.
No matter what happens in life, always love.
Love always wins.
I just see a loving community wanting to respond in positive ways to a negative act.
After about 10 minutes, there was a lot more love out there than any of that hate.
It reminds us that we really all are brothers and sisters in a loving God.
In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Former church members who drove from Indiana to help clean up the graffiti donated all of that sidewalk chalk. Rainfall this morning gave way to a great break from the heat. We are tracking similar changes into the work week. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell has an early look at the forecast.
Very different weather world out there for us today compared to yesterday. We had the rounds of showers, thunderstorms, but today, sunshine. And look at these numbers. 76 degrees, Jackson, 79, London, 80 in Frankfurt, and we're at 79 degrees also in Lexington, and all of that sunshine. That's the most important thing, too. Getting rid of that humidity as well, because we have certainly been pushing it out of town. We had a little lingering shower, too, for the folks across parts of eastern Kentucky, so it's been slower to clear for them. But you can see right there on our Defender Radar Network, things are looking a whole lot better, and they will continue to do so, at least for a few days. Now, nothing lasts forever in the current environment we're in. Look at our hour by hour. We go through the rest of the evening and into the overnight. Look at that early morning temperature. At 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're at 57 degrees. Daytime high tomorrow around 79, so pretty much where we are today. But the thing about it is we're still watching the dry air kind of push in. So tomorrow, it'll feel even better, a much better feel, a fall-like feel, especially overnight and early tomorrow morning. But as I mentioned, it won't last forever. We're getting a little more heat and humidity trying to make another run toward the latter part of the week. I'll break that down coming up in a few minutes.
And cleanup from flooding continues in the south tonight. Leaders in Louisiana are setting up a temporary bus system to help people get in and around Baton Rouge. 2 disaster recovery centers opened in the southern part of the state. Leaders plan to open more as soon as they can find buildings with enough parking and proper access for people with disabilities. Right now, more than 3,000 are staying in shelters. The flooding in southern Louisiana has displaced a large number of animals as well. Helping Hounds in Cynthiana has found a way to ship much needed supplies to the area. The group already sent a truck with food and hay to Baton Rouge. They now want to send a semi full of supplies this Wednesday.
My sister is at Baton Rouge, and she's actually working one of these shelters, and they have been working around the clock on animals that have been standing in the water. They have cellulitis, bloat in their legs. The livestock animals are really in very poor shape and desperately need our help.
Southern States and Cynthiana is accepting donations for the group. Still to come on WKYT News on the CW Lexington. The traffic mess today, an easier drive tomorrow. Why police say work on the lights at a major Lexington intersection will help commuters and shoppers.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Finally, we are on the other side of a front for a change, and things are quiet. A total break in the pattern. It's going to be nice and calm for a few days here, even through midweek, and that's when we start tracking at least a small chance of rain. Still not bad overall. Here we go. 79 degrees. Feels like temperature is 80. That's because we haven't completely defeated the humidity yet. Now, we're certainly going to have moisture in the air because it's there, but we're going to get it to a lower level even into the day tomorrow. Winds are coming out of the west-northwest at around 12 miles per hour. And that, this time of year, is certainly where you want them to come if you've been tired of the heat and humidity. Now, if you are a fan of it, You're going to get more of the humidity, especially coming up later on this week. Right now, area-wide, you're going to find more mid and upper 70s and even some low 80s in certain areas. So not a bad looking day at all because most of it involves sunshine. This is our Defender Radar Network. Yesterday, rounds of showers, thunderstorms, heavy rainmakers. Nothing like that out there for you today, though. Look at our muggy meter. We go into Monday, we go into Tuesday, we're still at some very pleasant levels. Wednesday, you'll begin to notice it again. That's when it starts to creep back up on us. So let's track that. Let's show you overall what's happening here as we are tracking the actual dew point, the moisture in the air right here. And again, watch for that yellow. That's the tropical air mass. And we're tomorrow. Again, nice and dry through your Monday afternoon, Monday evening. We get into Tuesday. We're still falling on the dry side of this category at the normal peak heating of the day. But look what's coming just out to our west. It starts creeping back in here as we head into your Wednesday. That's when the humidity begins to rally back. Tropical air mass. We're talking about dew point temperatures in the 70s again out in western Kentucky and getting into central and eastern Kentucky beyond that point. So that is the humidity making a return. Here's what we've got on the surface. High pressure will keep us dry. That's the reason we're going to be dry for a couple of days here. It kind of keeps everything at bay. But with a passing storm system to our north, it's going to allow for an increase in moisture getting into Wednesday, which will eventually lead to a scattering of some showers into the afternoon and evening. Better chances, I think, later on into the day. So that's when it becomes some more active and more widespread across most of the area. 7-day forecast starts off fine and dandy. We're with temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. So Monday and Tuesday, wonderful. Then you get into that later chance of showers into Kentucky on Wednesday. And then a few more with that next frontal boundary drifting into the area. But the rain chances don't last all that long. We'll wrap those up and try to get into more of a dry pattern again when we're sitting here next weekend. But temperatures very comfortable across the board. The only problem is the humidity does come back, so it's going to make it feel like it did yesterday. If you can remember, in between the showers and storms, it was kind of nasty.
I can't remember the last time you had 50s on there.
I can't remember that either, and I will gladly take them.
Today's temperatures were great for crews working on Nicholasville Road. They were out there rewiring the lights at the Man o' War Boulevard intersection. WKYT's Mike Byer shows us how the work is supposed to help ease traffic headaches.
I'm at the intersection of Nicholasville Road and Man o' War Boulevard. For several hours today, the busy intersection was without traffic signals, causing some delays for motorists. Crews began work this morning on new traffic signals for the intersection, calling for the help of several of our men and women in blue, or in this case, Safety Green.
We're directing traffic because traffic engineering are rewiring a box. So they have to take the old wires off the old light pole, connect them to the new light pole.
Nearly 10 officers spent the day taking turns directing traffic while the signals were out, which they say is no easy task.
If people don't slow down or pay attention, we could get injured or they could have an accident and injure somebody else.
The work is meant to help ease traffic congestion around the new Summit development. Because of the fast work by these crews and the extra help from officers, everything ran smooth today and all is back to normal at one of Lexington's busiest intersections. Now, if you approach an intersection that's being directed by police, like what's taking place behind me, they ask that you slow down, use caution, and always pay attention to the officers directing traffic. In Lexington, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All that work was supposed to be done last week, but wet weather postponed plans. Lee K. Howard's in next with sports, and Team USA won a gold medal in basketball.
They did. USA wins gold thanks in part to a big game from DeMarcus Cousins, and the first college football AP poll is out, and it features several teams on UK's schedule. That's next in sports. The Associated Press released its first preseason top 25 college football poll this afternoon, and it includes 5 teams on Kentucky's schedule. Here's a look at the poll. UK's opponents are highlighted there in yellow. Defending national champion Alabama is the #1 in the AP poll, followed by Clemson, Oklahoma, Florida State, and LSU will round out that top 5. Ohio State, Michigan, Stanford, Tennessee, Notre Dame, all in the top 10. Louisville checks in at number 19. Other SEC teams making the list include Ole Miss at 11, Georgia at 18, and Florida coming in at 25. Mark Stoops had mixed emotions following Saturday's second and final scrimmage of the preseason camp. On one hand, he applauded the big plays made by a few of his starters, but he continued to voice his concern regarding the depth of the team, particularly at the defensive line and linebacker positions. Stoops wants to see improvement from his second and third units.
When you're in a scrimmage like this and you're looking at every player and you're looking at 105 guys, it has a tendency to get a little sloppy with the 2s and the 3s, and that kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth because we need everybody. We need them to play at a high level, and we're not overly deep at certain positions, and that still looks ugly at times. And that's where we need to make the biggest jump in the next 2 weeks.
One position on the field where depth is not a problem is at wide receiver. Jeff Badette, Dorian Baker, Ryan Timmons, Garrett Johnson, and Blake Bone are being pushed by young guys like Tavon Richardson and Jabari Greenwood. Barker and Bones sat out yesterday's scrimmage with minor hamstring injuries, but the competition has been good throughout camp and during Saturday's scrimmage.
We had a lot of guys that stepped up today. You know, we're still competing in the wide receiver room. You know, guys are still trying to compete to get another rotation. You know, we play in 2 weeks, so spots are still there. So from a wide receiver standpoint, we did a great job competing today.
The UK football season kicks off in 13 days. We continue to count you down. The number 13 worn by Jeff Badette, Aaron Book, and Stevie Johnson. UK converted on fourth down 13 times last season, and the first touchdown scored in the history of Commonwealth Stadium came on a 13-yard strike from Ernie Lewis to Ray Barga against Virginia Tech in 1973. For more UK-related facts on the number 13, visit the sports page at WKYT.com. Well, you can add DeMarcus Cousins' name to the list of UK players with an Olympic gold medal in men's basketball. Boogie and Team USA were dominant in the 96-66 win over Serbia. In the gold medal game, Kevin Durant led the team with 30 points. Cousins added a double-double with 13 points and 15 rebounds. Cousins is the 10th Wildcat to win a gold medal in men's hoops, tying North Carolina and UCLA for the most of any school. Reds hosting the Dodgers. First inning, Chase Utley leading off, and he takes Anthony DeSclafani deep and gone for a solo shot, his 11th of the season. Dodgers up 1-0. Third inning, same score, top of the Dodgers order, doing more damage. First, Utley singles. Andrew Toll scores, 2-0 Dodgers. Next batter, Corey Seager rips a single. That scores Utley. Dodgers up 3-0. Bottom of the 7th, runners on the corners for the Reds, and former Kentucky Wildcat Joe Blanton strikes out Joey Votto to end the Reds' best scoring opportunity. Reds shut out by the Dodgers by the final of 4-0. Legends rained out last night, playing a doubleheader against the Hagerstown Suns this afternoon. Lexington won the first game, 1-0. The offense coming to life in the second game here. Roman Collins gets all of this and then some onto the roof of the Pepsi party deck in right for the first run of the game. Still in the first, Colton Frabacilio singles on a ground ball to center. That'll score Xavier Fernandez. Great day to be a legend as they get the win 8-2 to take a 2-1 series lead. Kristen, big day for the Legends.
Good for them. We will be right back with a final look at weather. Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $69 million, and Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $127 million. Looking good out there right now.
It is looking really good, and the rest of the evening is going to get even better and better. Overnight, you'll start to see those 50s try to filter back in. I think we end up around 57 degrees, kind of an average low for the entire area. Now, you might run into some spots, especially in eastern Kentucky in those valley locations, where they end up in the maybe 53, 54 degree range, which is pretty darn cool for this time of year. And we'll get the heat, humidity back somewhat toward the end of the week, so this won't last forever. It's more of a teaser for fall, but it's just letting you know that we're not that far away.
It's going to feel good this week.
It's going to feel fantastic.
It's felt great this weekend.
It's not bad at all, and we're just going to keep getting better for a few days.
Well, if you missed the top of our newscast or do want to get caught up on all the latest headlines, head on over to WKYT. We'll see you over there in just a few minutes.